Good morning everyone and welcome to another edition of Harnetty Rail Journeys, and today we are currently here in Preston as I'm awaiting my connecting train to Bamber Bridge. So what are we doing today then? Well, today we're chasing the rebuild Merchant Navy Bully Pacific number 35018 British India Line of West Coast Railways, and that's class 150 coming towards me. There we go. As I said, we're today chasing David Smith's rebuild Merchant Navy Bully Pacific number 35018 British India Line, as he's working West Coast Railways as the Pendle Dalesman from Lancaster to Carlisle via the S&C. So we're just currently waiting for our connecting train, the 757 Northern service is going to Colne, which is coming from Blackpool South, and we're getting off at Bamber Bridge, where we're going to get British India Line there first, and then we're going to shoot up to Carlisle and then down to Appleby to see British India Line going through there without stopping, as it's a path to go through without stopping Appleby today.
For the 0736 Northern service to Blackpool South, calling at Salwick, Kirkham and Wesham, Moss Side, Lytham, Ansdell and Fairhaven, St Anne's on the Sea, Squires Gate, Blackpool Pleasure Beach and Blackpool South. Moss Side is a request stop, and passengers for this station should ask the conductor on the train to arrange for the train to stop to allow them to alight.
Yes, before I was rudely interrupted, we're just waiting for our connecting train to Bamber Bridge, where we're going to get to there. Anyway, we've got to wait for this train now to Bamber Bridge.
Northern service.
We made it to Bamber Bridge in good time, ready for British India Line to run in fine fettle away from Farrington Junction as he headed towards Blackburn. Note on the going away shot of a new footbridge being installed at Bamber Bridge, knowing that this was my last scheduled shot at this foot crossing before closure. made it to Appleby in good time with about half an hour to go to see British India Line come round the curve going through non-stop.
We're now here at Appleby, as you can see the station in the background, and of course if you turn around the camera here you see some of the remaining semaphores and the signal box behind me. Another fabulous run there from British India Line going through. We're just walking back down towards the station and just going to wait for the 1:45 train up to Carlisle. Hopefully we could get a glimpse of BIL at Carlisle before it heads off to get turned and serviced. And then we'll be off to Langwithby for the return run, and then depending on time as well we'll get it at Preston later this evening, and then that's where we'll finish. Anyway, just wait for the 12:46 Northern service back up to Carlisle.
Or that's what I thought I was originally planning on doing, but instead I opted to go straight to Langwithby instead of going all the way to Carlisle in order to get British India Line on the return run at another line side location, as we'll see in the next few seconds.
We're now back at Langwithby station after we got British India Line from the line side. A big thanks to my mate Alistair who gave me a lift back to the station. We're just waiting for the 16:46 Northern service to Appleby, and then wait for the 5:15 to back up to Carlisle from Appleby. It's just basically wasting time, otherwise we'll be sat here for an hour and a half. So anyway, I'm not going to film this bit, but what we're going to do is we're going to talk about British India Line's history as I make my way back up to Carlisle, ready for the run back over Shap to Preston.
British India Line is a merchant navy class Bulleid Pacific, designed by the chief mechanical engineer at the Southern Railway, Oliver Bulleid. He was outshot from EC Works in 1945 to its original air smooth casing as designed by Oliver Bulleid, with its pre-nationalisation number 21C18. In 1946, British India Line had the privilege in hauling the first Bournemouth Bell train since the war ended. After nationalisation in 1948, British India Line was given his British Railways number as we know the engine today, as number 35018, and during the same year, the engine represented the Southern Railway during the 1948 locomotive exchanges, working the Atlantic Coast Express, which was one of the Southern Railway's best-known trains, between Waterloo and Exeter. British India Line lasted in its original air-smooth casing for 11 years, before eventually being rebuilt as part of the rebuilding programme of the class by British Railways in 1956. This is how we know the engine today. For much of the engine's working life for the Southern Railway and British Railways, British India Line was allocated at Nine Elms in South East London, before the only shed transfer came during its working life at Bournemouth. In 1964, the engine was withdrawn from service and moved to Daiwoodham Scrapyard at Barry in South Wales the following year, where it remained at the scrapyard until 1980, when the engine was saved for preservation by Richard Heather and John Bunch. The engine's long journey to restoration started at the Midlands Railway, but didn't last very long until 2003, when it was sold to South Coast Steam Limited and moved to the Isle of Portland. But that too didn't go down well either. But after 8 years in 2011, the engine was sold to David Smith of West Coast Railways, and the engine moved to Carnforth for restoration to full mainline working order. Eventually, 6 years after arriving at Carnforth, British India Line had returned to the main line in the spring of 2017, the first time British India Line's been seen on the national network since 1964. BIL did cause quite a stir during the mainline testing, and it acquired the nameplate from its lightweight cousin, 34016 Bodmin, during the mainline tests, but eventually it disappeared upon the final loaded test run, which was a success during the summer of 2017, and since then has returned to the national network. Despite the one hiccup on its ill-fated inaugural run from Carnforth to York, which failed at its destination on the Loom Rivers Trust trip, since 2018, British India Line has proved to be a reliable performer for West Coast Railways and has been adopted as the company's flagship locomotive ever since. Since returning to the main line, British India Line has been all over the national system, including breaking new ground for the class in 2022, when it ventured into Scotland for the first time in its preservation career. Since the engine's return to the main line, British India Line has won many hearts with enthusiasts, including myself, with spectacular performances, most notably on the Settle in Carlisle. Now, enough of me talking, as we see British India Line pulling into Preston while on the return run to drop off his penultimate set of passengers. We see British India Line at Preston as it settles down as it awaits the road back to Lancaster. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked this video, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe and turn on the notifications so you'll be right up to date when the next Harnetty rail journey goes live. I leave you now with British India Line departing Preston and a spectacular shot from additional footage from a member of my family as it heads back for Lancaster. So until next time, goodbye.